Hello, Doctor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How did you see this meeting today?
I see this meeting as a very progressive meeting. It's a pleasure to be here in Kuwait, and I can see they're on the start of great things with camels. There's a lot of interest in camels. I'm very impressed with what I've seen outside with all the posters and all the different subjects that they're covering to do with camel health and camel diseases. And so I think it's very much an up-and-coming subject here, and I think that Kuwait is going to progress a lot in this field.
Yes. Thank you, Doctor, for this presentation today. It's a very important presentation. And what's your advice for the owner of camels in the Gulf country?
Well, I think the important thing as far as breeding and diseases is concerned is to screen your camels. Screen them for reproductive diseases before you start, and monitor the health throughout the breeding process, and make sure you mate your camels at the right stage of the breeding cycle. And with all that, you can then help prevent diseases in the first place. And prevention is always better than cure. So if we can prevent the diseases happening, then that's a better place to start from.
Doctor, do you think the camels is very important this time?
Yeah, I think camels are a very important species, and I think they're going to be the animal of the future, for sure. They produce meat, milk and transport in very harsh conditions, and definitely they're the animal for the future.
Have you visited Saudi Arabia before?
I've been to Saudi, yes, and I've lived in Dubai for the last 33 years, and this is the second time to Kuwait, so I certainly love this area.
Do you know about the King Abdulaziz festival, the biggest festival in the world?
Yes, I was lucky enough to be invited to that a few years ago now, and so yes, it's a very big festival.
Thank you, Doctor, so much. Thank you.
Thank you. We do a statistical scan and look at histopathology. For the preputial wash, we would infuse 30 ml of sterile PBS, that you can see here, through this very narrow pipette or catheter, which we put in the tip of the perfuse, and infuse 30 ml of sterile PBS, toss it around a bit, withdraw it, and then send it to the lab for analysis. And we particularly look for Campylobacter and Trichomonas. This is a study, this is what we found in the camels, and you can see there's a wide variety of pathogens that have been isolated from these preputial washes. In particular, we would look for Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Campylobacter and Trichomonas. Those are the ones that are reproductively a problem. There was a particular study done by a guy called Rifat and his group, where they looked at 141 infertile males and did preputial washes in all those males, and then looked at the various pathogens that they could find. And they found Chlamydia abortus was most prevalent, followed by Trypanosomonas abenzi, Campylobacter fetus. But interestingly, they didn't find Brucella or Toxoplasma species in those particular preputial washes. Once they'd done that, they then looked at the breeding history and clinical findings of these males, and looked at things like lack of libido, inability to copulate, infertility, various lesions. And it's interesting that they found that the infertility was the most common complaint and was associated with all three of those particular pathogens. Whereas lack of libido was mostly associated with Trypanosomonas abenzi, inability to copulate was associated with C. abortus and T. abenzi, and then the scrotal and testicular and penile lesions were again associated with T. abenzi and abortus. Interestingly though, that we can see that even though 100% of all those camels are affected with the fetus, they mostly, hang on, what's happened? There we go.